Yabba Dabba Do is right because it's Friday Fun Day. Opinions expressed are those of our show host, not WSTU or Treasure Coast broadcasters. Any reproduction or reuse of this program without the express written consent of WSTU is strictly prohibited. And now,
ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
all right, there he is, the man of the hour.
Jon Campion, that's me. How y'all doing? Welcome. Hello, Martin County, Stewart, Port St. Lucie, KC Ingram.
Everybody.
Hey, how about that? Western Michigan. Let's go.
Go Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they, the Akron Zips beat them out, Casey. KC
you
and
know
I.
what?
What's that? What's up?
We are we're not fair weathered friends. We are longtime friends of the Broncos. Always will be friends and fans. So they have good seasons and bad seasons, but we've got that good old brown and gold running through our blood.
We do, and I'll tell you what, it was pretty amazing that when I was a freshman at Western, they made it to the Sweet 16, and they lost.
Really?
They lost to UNC Charlotte, and they lost to Cornbread Maxwell, who ended up playing for the Celtics.
Isn't that awesome? That's a great story.
And we
they
had a
didn't
guy
make it to the Sweet 16 with me, but.
And we had a guy who was from Shelby, a little tiny town. I don't know where that is, over in the eastern part of the state.
Yeah, actually,
Shelby?
It's Shelby Township.
Okay, and that was Paul Griffin. He was like 6'10",
Mm-hmm.
played for the Utah Jazz.
Nice.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was cool back then. Being a freshman, you'd seen the best basketball in the country, and saw Magic Johnson that year. He came and kicked our butt, and anyways. But it was all good. And Casey, I was so excited when I found out you went to school there. After we passed each other in the hallway here at WSTU. But thanks.
How many years?
Yeah, how many years? A lot, I can tell you that.
A few.
Yeah,
yes.
I just tell people it's not that I'm on Medicare. I'm a baby boomer.
Oh.
There you go.
Makes you feel younger.
You're a little ahead of my time, but not that much.
Yeah,
I'm Gen X, but I'm just a few years away from the boomers. My older sister was a boomer.
You studied when you went to school. I was in Valley One having a good time. They say my parents paid me 4.5 years for me to go to Western and have a good time.
Hey, now I started out in Garneau Harvey, if I recall. That was Valley too, and then I went over and studied at Waldo's.
Oh, well, then you were starting to get serious. Oh, okay, I get it. Waldo's.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah. Where's KC? She's at Waldo's. That was a fun place.
That's good.
Very, very hilly, and it was a nice little school. It's really grown a lot. I have not been back, but the business school is huge and really. I mean, I was going to buildings that were like 120 years old. They were older than the house I lived in.
Wow. Yes.
Right?
It's a lot of history there. A lot of things happened in Kalamazoo, and my niece ended up going to Kalamazoo as a Bronco, and it's just so different from when we went there, but still a wonderful school, and just changing with the times like everything does.
Yep, you bet. You can't go back. Well,
No,
you can,
you can't.
but I'd still be doing the same thing I was doing then.
Close your eyes. He's still doing it today.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Well, I had hair. I looked like John Tesh back then. I had hair and I smiled and partied a lot.
Well, my dad had a hairline just like yours, John. He
Yeah.
said he had wavy hair, and then one day it waved goodbye.
It waved goodbye.
No, John's left it with the headboard.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you're in bed and you're doing the headboard, man, you lose your hair
I
real
was
quick.
doing the headboard when I was a kid. How'd you know?
TMI.
Yeah, that is. No, it's really, I call it my solar love panel. So,
Okay.
all right. This is a family show. Thanks for
That's
calling in, Casey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, Lordy. So you might know something about the train station scheduled for Stewart. What do you know about that, Casey?
I don't know their
Nothing. She knows
schedule yet,
nothing. She
Frank.
just called to talk to John.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
Well, I had more hair too back in college days. I had one of those big old poofy hairdos that they had back in the late
The
80s.
big
So
hair. The big hair.
yeah,
Just so,
I did it well. Trust me.
Everyone had
But,
big hair in the 80s.
thank
Oh,
God.
God,
Thank
they
God
had
for
to.
curling irons.
Hey, you know what? Perms are coming back. That was a big deal back then, and they're coming back, they say. And I'm like, no.
No.
Wow.
Say it isn't.
Oh, I'll say yes. I'm a hairdresser. Yes. Let's get him back in here.
Yeah. Now I take a number 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah. I was at 2. I'm down to 1.5 now.
So the 1.5.
Yeah,
He wants it close, close and personal.
that's right. You got it.
Very cool.
Yeah, Frank, that train station coming here to Stewart, that was a bit of a disappointment for some of us. Some people do support it. For myself, I was just really disappointed that we're paying for it as taxpayers. It's $46 million. And, the county and especially the city, neither one have the grants lined up yet. So hopefully they come through. But, I kind of wrote an expose about it and an op-ed that's on my Facebook page, the KC Ingram Show. But I think what listeners don't understand, and a lot of people still don't realize, is the ownership timeline of Brightline and Florida East Coast Railway. So this will only take me a second, but
Yeah, go ahead.
2007, Fortress bought Florida East Coast Railway for about $3 billion. Then in 2017, fast forward a decade, SoftBank, a Japanese conglomerate, bought Fortress. So the owner of Florida East Coast Railway was purchased by a foreign entity. And that same year, Florida East Coast Railway, just the tracks and the freight division, were sold to Grupo Mexico, which is a Mexican company.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now Fortress is owned by a Japanese conglomerate, and the freight division and the actual land and tracks was owned by Grupo Mexico. And then in 2023, just last year, SoftBank sold Fortress to Abu Dhabi-based sovereign wealth fund, Mubadala Investments. And, that's another foreign entity, of course. So us taxpayers, 46 million grants are still us, folks, whether they come directly from the county, city, state, or feds, we're all paying for it, are going to 2 foreign-owned companies. And, we have a lot of struggling companies here in the United States that are American-owned. So myself, that's why I'm really opposed to it, besides the fact that it really, the bridge issue is not completely solved yet. Folks want to tune into my show next Wednesday. It's 10 to 11 right here on WSTU, but I'm going to have Susan Mahiel on the show, as well as Scott Watson, and we're going to be talking about the lack of safety in the train and also what the bridge, even with the new one that's proposed, that's going to be a ways out, what it means to the marine industry west of the bridge. So, we have a lot of thoughts there, but that's my thoughts in a nutshell.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
I always have a lot to say about the train. You know that. So.
Yeah. So,
how we met.
That's how we met. That's right. You founded the Florida Not All Aboard.
That's correct.
Yes. And I just did a little Googling before airtime, and there's over 4,000 people that you have on your Florida Not All Aboard Facebook page, and there's posts still.
We do. We have a passionate following. So.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's good.
It's great, Casey.
Yeah. So the thing that because I produced some of the shows that you had done earlier on, and I remember you had some financial people that came in studio were talking about, it's not a financial model for success, and the only way they could make it work is they did it with all the RIF loan, the federally subsidized grants that they were able to garner, and that's the part that really rankles me personally.
Yes. That was kind of my fight from the start. Is we should not be paying for a private company's investment, and that's something that I will say. Fortress and All Aboard Florida, Brightline. I think they were Virgin for a while.
Yep.
Which folks, Virgin did not invest in them, by the way. They
loaned their name
to use their name, and then they didn't pay them. So
yeah, Yeah.
they actually lost a lawsuit over in England over that. But
Yeah.
that's what happened. And we did oppose, and I opposed the taxpayer funding because I said if they don't get funding, they're not going to be able to build this out. And the RIF loan actually was denied. That was over $2 billion. It was 100% taxpayer backed, and we opposed that. And that little battle we won, but all they did, Fortress just kind of regrouped, and they really got in the political circles. They got the private activity bonds, which are, at least they're privately purchased, but they have a tax abatement to them. They're tax-free. But also all these communities such as Stewart and Boca and Miami and Fort Lauderdale ponied up tens and tens and tens and hundreds of millions of dollars to assist this train, whether it's stations or crossing improvements. In Stewart right now, we have a big push for quiet zones.
Yes.
And one of the safety improvements for quiet zones is you have to have fencing and some 4-quadrant arms for the train. And Brightline loves it that we want quiet zones, because if we ask for them, we have to pay for the improvements over the intersections.
Right.
So when we get those quiet zones, it does make the train quieter. But again, Brightline Fortress is not paying for it. We are. So, unfortunately, I fought taxpayer funding, but they found ways around it. And here we are today.
Wow.
I just think that, a company should foot their own bill, and, especially something as large as this that does not have a successful model anywhere in North America for a profitable passenger train, that it's pretty risky to pass it on to the taxpayers. But this is the America we live in, and I just, I can't help but be passionate and say, folks, we're all screaming about this inflation. We're screaming, our debt is just astronomical right now.
Mm-hmm.
34 trillion and counting, and all these things add up to that.
I have a question. This is John. I kind of sound like Frank, except not anymore.
No.
Oh, you're from
Solar
Detroit.
panel, John, I got you.
Yeah, you're from Detroit. I'm from Grand Haven, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All
That's
right.
right.
Anyways, this is because Frank read the riot act at the beginning about this is strictly an opinion of mine, and I'd like to,
Yeah. Lay it out there.
One of the things that I always felt from the beginning, when Brightline first came around, I happened to be president of the Palm City Chamber, which really doesn't mean anything because I didn't do anything except try to make Carolyn Davy not nervous at breakfast when I talked. But I told her, I said, it's okay. I learned from Mike DiTerlizzi, so you don't have to worry about anything. But anyways, I always thought that the train was a boondoggle, and that the freight is really what they're trying to head towards. Now, knowing that those are two different companies, because I felt that because they dug the port deeper down in Miami and they're going to have more freight, is this thing more, Brightline will
Sunset.
they'll sunset their own thing. Thank you, Frank. You saw it in my eyes. And then freight, then freight will just be freight, and they're getting longer and bigger. And what do you think about that? Is that have you ever thought about those? I'm sure you've thought about everything. My God.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's many folks, and myself included, this, in the end, all this infrastructure upgrades does benefit the freight, and that is what makes money with trains. So I still believe that's an absolute possibility today. It's all conjecture on my part right now as far as the Grupo Mexico purchase, but that was done so quietly. You didn't even know it was for sale, and all of a sudden they just announced it. And now this freight company that owns the tracks gives Brightline in perpetuity access to the tracks. And I find it very odd that a company that's for profit would give another company in perpetuity access to the tracks. And this, as we know, there's over 100 deaths from Brightline, but that doesn't even include other accidents where there weren't deaths. So it shuts down the tracks every time this happens. So I'm always a little amazed that a private company would make this agreement unless there's something else going on in the background. And it's just kind of a common sense thing for me. I'm like, if it doesn't add up, there's probably something else.
The puzzle
an agreement
pieces
we don't know
fit.
about.
The puzzle pieces don't fit.
I I went, there was forms and things that Brightline had submitted to the federal government for grants and different things, but anything that's related to that deal has been redacted.
Okay.
So, who knows what that deal is? Who knows if we'll ever find out? But I think there's something a little bit more than just they sold off the freight and they're two completely separate companies. I can't tell you what it is because I haven't seen the deal, but it doesn't add up how it came out. So I do think it's something that, a huge benefit to the freight.
I'm glad you mentioned that because Grupo I heard about the first time just watching golf on CBS. They were the father and son who own it down in Mexico were sponsoring the Mexican Open. And they had all their commercials about Grupo down there and who they were. So now I know.
Put it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Wow.
A few more pesos.
So when's the scheduled opening of the Stewart's train station, if it comes to fruition?
Right. They're talking, actually, it was supposed to be 28, but they're talking about 2026 now. So we'll see. I'm very concerned right now. Stewart in particular has put a lot of money on the line. The commissioners voted 4-1. Chris Collins was the one that voted against the station. They've promised a lot of money to build this station, but they don't have the grants yet. So we'll see how that all pans out. I shudder at the fact that we're building this at all for the train station. I think that they should build their own, but that ship has sailed.
Right.
So I think part of that's going to depend on the money to build it. But if they get the money, they're projected for 2026.
So,
I expected it to go to Fort Pierce on my own thinking because they've been dredging the port up there to get bigger ships in there. So I figured they'd take the train up there and the freight train, and they have between Miami and Fort Pierce, they have 2 ports.
I did too, and it's centrally located on the Treasure Coast, and with King's Landing project that's up there, bringing in hotels and retail, it seemed like a really good fit. But I don't know why it ended up here in Stewart, but it did.
Well, because they said on the news that how can I say this nicely? The type of people that are up there and the cleanliness and the indigents and this and that were not conducive for people to get off and on the train. Basically,
and I think it was income too.
That has a lot infrastructure. Yeah. That's why Costco wants to go to Martin County instead of St. Lucie County.
The median income here is higher than up there.
Right.
So they kind of projected that they would get more ridership. So we'll see how all that pans out. The
demographics, it's all about money.
Right. It's about money. My concern is folks are going to want to go to the larger areas where there's a lot of great shopping. If you've been down to, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Boca, there's like so many really cool shops and restaurants. And, our local retailers are hoping people are coming here, but I'm kind of afraid people might hop on it to try those other shops out. Yeah. So we'll see how it all pans out.
As long as they come to 197 Southeast Monterey, I'm okay with that.
Right. European Kitchen and Baths.
Have to run free
2
Ubers.
Locations,
That's right.
Vero and Stewart.
That's it. Thank you, Frank.
You can't beat that. That's right. And you have the days there to boot.
Oh, we do.
I think I just saw something on your sign. It made me laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Happy St. Patty's Bidet.
Yes.
That was it.
Yeah, that was when my mother, my Peggy, my mom, thought up several years ago. She's passed back in 15, but whenever
she lives on in her humor.
She does. She had a good wit to her.
Yes.
I'm glad you're carrying that on, John. I giggled when I went by it. So.
Well, my mom and dad, it was a very simple family. Peg, Dick, John, Jill, Tom.
There it is.
And then Lady, the dog.
Lady.
Lady.
Where did that come from?
Well, my mom thought she was such a lady until she started pooping and peeing on everything as a pup. I said, that's great, Mom.
Jeez.
Whatever you say, Peggy.
We had a dog. My dad called it a Sooner, and I go, "Where'd you get that name, Sooner? Why would you call a dog a Sooner?" He says, "Because it's sooner go to the bathroom in the house than outside."
There you go. Your dad had a great sense of humor. Witty.
Ooh.
Well,
Very witty.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
we were going to have some kind of Oklahoma thing going on here, but
Yeah,
nothing
no.
to do with that
Oh,
whatsoever.
you
No,
never
nothing
know.
good.
We
No,
can
no,
get
no.
going on anything here.
No.
It's Fun Friday.
That's
Friday
it.
fun.
That's right.
That's all we can do to hold Debbie down, keep her from hopping out of her chair.
Oh, lordy. So the thing is that the train is just they when they were coming out of the ground with this project, Martin County and City of Stewart were against it to the point where they were involved in a lawsuit against Fortress Investment, right, for a
Yes.
while. And
Martin County only. Yes.
Martin County, and then Stewart was part of. I mean, somehow Stewart was involved, right?
They opposed the train as well. They weren't
Right.
involved with the lawsuit, but they opposed the
Right.
train. Yes.
So, but then they were approached by Fortress, and they says, if you drop the lawsuit, we will consider a train station in Stewart. You remember that?
Oh, that was part of the settlement agreement, and our
Yes.
county commission agreed to pay
Wow.
for half of that train station without one commissioner asking, geez, how much does a train station cost?
Right.
Because at that time they were 75 million, 50 million, 60 million down south and up. You go down to Miami, it's much more expensive than that. But not one commissioner said they wanted to settle I think it was a $4 million lawsuit. And they agreed to pay for half of I think it's going to end up being about a $60 million station, but it's
Yes,
actually going to cost us
perfect.
$46 million. So go
So,
figure.
Casey, in the grant writing, so in the end, the grants don't take. Yeah, well, that'd be a heck of a grant, but whatever they get, whatever grant money they get, that's not part of what has to be paid for, is it? Because usually
So the city of Stewart's hoping to get a grant
Okay.
as well as the county. So yes, that would help pay for it. And hopefully they do, but they don't have the grants yet. It's something promised that has not been provided for.
Those are state grants or federal grants?
I don't, because they haven't applied for it. I don't know what it'll be. I imagine they'll look both state and federal.
All right.
where they
All
can
right.
get the most, huh?
That's right. And there may be more than one. So,
All right.
Wow.
it's a lot of money to come up with, and hopefully the city of Stewart taxpayers won't have to be on the hook personally. But again, it's one of those things with grants with me. We all should be looking at them, and it's the attitude of our politicians. It's like, well, we don't use it, somebody else will. Well, at what point do we as Americans say enough's enough? We are in so much debt.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's not free money. Somebody has to pay for it.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's the
It's
problem.
not free money.
Yeah.
Cleaning our water, I'm all for it. But building a company that's owned by the United Arab Emirates, building them a station, I'm not for that.
It's interesting that the Japanese company got out of it too.
They offloaded. It was termed offloaded because Fortress was not doing well for them. So that's why why are we propping up a losing arm or a losing entity in their huge portfolio? But we are.
Right.
We are.
Right.
I
New
know
bridge,
we're,
by the way, you talked about freight. Think about how nice that'll be to have a brand new bridge for that freight.
yeah.
Just wonderful. That's going to be a 2-laner, right? Or 2 lines.
It's supposed to be 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
It's
great for us personally, but again, this is this company's infrastructure, not our infrastructure. So it's a little frustrating to me that we're just roped into paying for these things.
Well, KC, this is John again, of course. Can you tell by my raspy voice?
I can tell.
I think I've had this all my life. I just wanted to ask you 2 things. One is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the other thing is, I know we're probably out of time with what you wanted to give us, but I know that you are passionate about the river.
Yes.
So can you throw a couple minutes of that in?
Absolutely. This is probably one of our biggest concerns again this year. It's very frightening looking forward. I really became involved with the river issues back in 2013 and 2014, traveled to Washington, D.C. To advocate on behalf of stopping the discharges. And, for folks that are new here, there's a lot of issues, and this canal was started to be built back about 100 years ago now. And back in the 60s, there was a cry to stop the discharges and save our river, and we're still having that same cry today.
Yeah.
And it's even worse. If you look at aerial photos of our river, the seagrasses are gone. We're looking at sandy bottoms. That's not good. We've lost where fish used to hatch, and the life of the river began. There's no place for them anymore because the seagrass is gone. Why is the seagrass gone? We can only guess. We're guessing it's glyphosate and things like that have gotten into the muck of the river. But you have a freshwater Lake Okeechobee being discharged into our saltwater estuary. And when that happens, it changes the salinity and kills what's naturally there, so especially the oysters, that type of thing. Changes the water so much that we've had some horrible, horrible algal blooms to the point of people getting respiratory illnesses. We've had dogs that died drinking from it. We've had, and you guys have been here long enough to know, you've driven across the bridges out towards the ocean and you've not seen a bird or dolphin or anything in the water. It just kills the water. It's the most sad and shameful thing, and I can't tell you how much we're worried about that again this year with the amount of discharges we're getting already. There's already been some algae blooms that have started, and we're just at the very beginning of the rainy season, so there's no simple solution. That's the really frustrating part. We've built up. We've got Wellington, and places that used to be swamps now have homes, and people want to point fingers and blame everybody, but the truth is, this was done by a lot of people. It started with the Army Corps of Engineers, but back then they didn't realize what the repercussions were. That was the thing to do.
Right.
It's crazy.
So,
yeah.
It's just going to take a lot of money. It's going to take some open minds. And, myself, I wish there wasn't so much finger pointing at each other. I mean, I have a feeling that the federal government and Army Corps probably loves the coastal folks blaming the farming folks, and the farming folks blaming the coastal folks. We need to really work together and find solutions. We've had some storm water treatment areas, some reservoirs that have been made. We need to look at things like aquifer storage recovery, which is kind of an underground water well. There's just so many different solutions we have to look at, and I think it's going to take many solutions. But John, it breaks my heart to see this happening again, and I'm very very fearful of what's going to happen this year.
Well, and particularly how important it is to the fishing industry here in Martin County, and the Treasure
Truly
Coast.
The lifeblood of our community. It truly
amazing.
is.
It's
Sailfish capital of the world, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And
Wow.
you talk to folks that have been here since the 60s, and the river used to be blue with a sandy bottom, and it's just not that way anymore. And you can see it heal when you don't have discharges for a few years, but here we go again. So
Lake Michigan's still cold.
Yeah.
that thing is always cold.
Baby.
I spent 10 summers on that baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Anyways.
All right.
Lake Michigan's beautiful. It's like an ocean without salt.
It
and
is.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
I have a t-shirt that says Lake Michigan, salt free.
Yes. But cold. But cold.
Yeah.
But cold. Yeah. I think
Yes,
78 is the highest it's ever been. I think. I don't know.
That even seems warm.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it was 76. Maybe it was 66. I don't know. It was cold.
It was good. Yes. All right.
You know what, though? When you grow up there, you don't know the difference. And as kids, you're going to be impervious to cold water. So it's a lot of fun.
You bet. That's true.
Well, you got it.
Well, Casey, we can't thank you enough for giving us your valuable time. Tell our listeners where they can listen to you for more news and information that you get to share with us every week.
I appreciate that, Frank. So the KC Ingram Show, I am right here on WSTU AM 1450 from 10 to 11 a.m. every Wednesday. You can also watch the show on my Facebook page, which is the KC Ingram Show, and we upload the shows to YouTube. So you can Google the KC Ingram Show on YouTube, and you'll find that page as well. But this summer is going to be very interesting and informative. Every election year, I do a Meet Your Candidate series. So this past week, I just had on Susan Gibbs Thomas. She's running for Martin County Commission District 3, but I'm going to have all candidates on. So Mike Circus has been on. I've had Sean Reed on from City of Stewart. So we have quite a few contested seats this year. So it's really an opportunity for listeners just to get to know the candidate, listen in, and hear what they're about. But I have other shows, and I'll just say a couple of the upcoming shows. As I said, next week we're going to be covering The Train with Susan Heel, and Scott Watson will be calling in. We're going to be talking about the safety aspects and the bridge issues with the train. The next week I'm going to have Debbie Kuhas in, and she's the Dean of the School of Education for IRSC. And at 10:30, I'm going to have Brock Session in. He is with Circa 69. It's the new group of restaurants that are out in Jensen Beach. And there's a coffee shop, a burrito shop, ice cream shop, and of course, Circa 69. He's going to talk all about that. And I think he's going to be bringing in some giveaways. So if folks want to tune in again, that's going to be the April 3 show. Might get a free dinner out of it.
Nice.
And, so those are the couple shows coming up. But we cover all kinds of issues here on my show, and enjoy it every Wednesday, and appreciate all the listeners tuning in.
That's great. You can tell she did her homework when she was in college.
Yes.
In between my breaks with Waldo's.
Yeah.
Way to go, kid.
All right. Outstanding. All right. Well, thank you, KC Ingram. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to listening to you every Wednesday at
pleasure.
10. All right. Take care,
Cool.
kiddo. All right.
Thanks. You guys have a safe drive home this evening. Stay dry.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right.
You
Take
too.
care.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye-bye. Chattanooga Choo Choo, just Kalamazoo.
Circles.
And we're back. A little more Chattanooga Choo Choo. That was a rather lengthy intro for Chattanooga Choo Choo, but that's all
Hey,
right.
you know, how many people have been to Kalamazoo?
Right.
How many people have been to Kokomo?
Yeah.
I've been to both.
I've been to both too.
Good.
I could say
yeah,
that.
yeah. Kokomo has a huge Chrysler plant.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really part of their.
Coco.
Yeah, that's good. That's Coco Chanel.
So, Debbie, what is going on in Stewart, Martin County for this weekend?
Rain.
Really?
A lot of rain.
Every
Bring
day
your
but
umbrella.
every
I
day
mean,
but
I
Sunday.
can put my finger out and the wind is blowing and it's cloudy, no sun.
Don't you hate when that
it-
happens?
for most of tonight and into tomorrow, but tomorrow afternoon we'll have a little break and then the sun will come out and Sunday and Monday will be good.
Yep, right. You
But
got it.
we have the Arts and Crafts Festival downtown this weekend
It's free too.
on Osceola.
Yes. You know, my motto, if it's free, it's for me.
It is.
Yes.
But the Strawberry Festival in Port St. Lucie at the Mid-Atlantic Center, I believe
Yeah,
that's it.
that's
It's not free.
Oh,
It's
Nice.
$7 to get
Woo.
in, and it's strawberries, and they're going to have What are they going to have? Hula hoop contest,
Oh,
a
yeah.
frisbee dog show,
Oh, if they're a hula
strawberry
hoop, I'm going.
shortcake,
Oh, yeah.
strawberry fudge, strawberry relay, sack races.
Yeah, John and
And
I would
that'll be
tie
going
for
on.
first place. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be.
I'll-
We'll do the sack race.
Yeah.
Just tie our legs together and
Perfect.
I'll
What
be-
could go wrong?
I'll be holding you under my armpit.
And we have a water fest in Memorial Park this weekend, tomorrow from 10
Yeah.
a.m. to 2 p.m. And they're going to talk about the water value here.
Wow.
Mm.
Well, that should be interesting.
And they have some spring things that are going to go on, an Easter egg hunt and that for the kids. But if you want to hear about our water quality, Memorial
Go to
Park.
Memorial Park.
All
huh?
right.
Yes.
Very good. Okay.
And there's lots. Let's see. John, our John,
Me,
Johnny
me, John
gave
from-
us an update here. St. Lucie County has the St. Lucie County Fairgrounds, the powwow this weekend.
the powwow.
Yes, the Indian powwow, Native American culture, teepees, displays, vendors, activities, and intertribal dancing.
TP's like TEEPEE, not
Yes.
like TP.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not toilet paper.
Don't-
It's,
don't-
it's a teepee.
Don't bring a
We're
roll
gonna have a
with you.
TP throwing contest.
Yes, there it is.
over the
yeah.
TPs.
You know, didn't you do that when you were a kid and got mad at someone and you TP'd their house?
That would be Devil's Night.
Yeah, Devil's
before-
Night.
Yeah,
That was the week before
The day
Halloween,
before
right? The day
Halloween.
before.
Hmm.
That's when they used to flip the cars and burn them, right?
Well, that's downtown Detroit.
Oh,
but
okay. Okay.
not where I live.
And Indian
We're a little
River County
excited
has
that things
Mash
are going.
Monkey's 6th-year anniversary. It's a brewing company in Sebastian, and that's going to go on from noon to 9 p.m. tomorrow.
We're at
Sebastian,
oh in Sebastian.
920 US 1 Sebastian. So I'm thinking it's around Riverview Park up
Okay.
there, somewhere in there, because that's the heart of
That's where-
Sebastian.
Okay.
So
And-
if you're into that,
and that's from noon to 9.
noon to 9, 1 to 4, Matt Manning will play, and the Sleeping Dogs from 4 to 7.
Those sleeping dogs don't hunt, Frank.
Oh no, that's true.
Yeah.
No, they're going drinking.
Yeah, that's right.
You're
Well,
going to have
they-
Mad Dog
they got a-
2020.
They got a nooner to start, and then they got to finish at a niner.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
A
see if,
nooner and a niner.
It's too much TMI. Can I say that?
You sure you did, Frank.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your passion.
but that's about all this. There's not a lot.
Wow. All right. Well,
Well-
we can do about 2 minutes of this
I have
day
a
in-
question. Now, this is the rainy season here in
Yes.
Florida.
Yeah.
When it's the rainy season, whenever it rains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have no season anymore. It just rains when it rains. But we need it.
Yeah.
It's been really dry.
Whoa.
Is it
Oh, we got another caller. I bet it. Guess who? Palm City.
Yeah.
Charlie?
Could be.
Charlie, is that
Go
you?
ahead. Go ahead, caller.
It could be.
It could be. Yes.
So I enjoyed KC Ingram,
Yes.
and I heard a show that she did on Marty, the vans, the buses. There's like 2 people that use them, and we pay a lot of money.
To use
Did
they
you hear
use the
about
what?
that show?
The what?
That's
The
bad.
buses?
The Marty vans.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Marty.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
vans.
oh
yes,
yeah,
yes,
the
yes.
Marty vans. Sure.
There's like 1 or 2 people that use these things.
Yeah.
And it costs Stuart a ton of money.
Well,
I
Stuart
listened
Martin
to
County.
her show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But don't they
Yeah.
don't they coincide with St. Lucie County
No.
because they stop at a certain point and then St. Lucie County can pick them up and take them further north? That was
No,
my
no, no,
understanding.
Listen to this.
I don't know.
Listen to this. There's like 2 human beings in Stewart that use the Marty thing.
How do you know this, Charlie?
It's not, in other words, it's not popular. Most people drive their own vehicles.
Right.
Well, I'll
I-
watch.
and-
But
and
but
then
when
now
I
they
go
have
up
these
and down
electric-
US 1, I mean, if I'm in St. Lucie County, they're outside of Sam's and they have different stations along US 1 going down to Martin County, and there's 4, 5, 6 people waiting there for a bus.
Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
that's-
So
Well,
that's
maybe-
why I
maybe
think
there's
they
more people that-
they're coincided with each other.
They might up at that part. I don't know. I just know
Wow.
that they drive behind our store
All I
on
know, if
Seville
you
a lot.
talk to Casey, maybe she'll call. Casey, I'm reaching out to you. This is Palm City Charlie. Call in.
Well,
I
you can
listened
call
to
her
her
on
whole
Wednesday when she
show.
has her show up and running at WSDU.
No, I think I may have called this show. Yeah. No, you can't call her show. You have to go through YouTube or emails. And all,
Facebook.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
do
you
that.
probably message her on Facebook, I think.
I'm too old. Too
Oh.
old.
Too old to use Facebook.
No, I don't use that. I told my wife had my picture on Facebook.
Oh
We were
no,
in Italy. I said, take that darn thing down. I didn't use that particular
that word.
D
Yeah,
word,
you didn't
but,
use darn. I get it.
but Ron Frank's show, I respect it.
Yeah.
Like I
actually,
do.
it's John's show, and Frank is running the board.
Well, he's
Right?
declared anything that is the opinion of the
Yes.
host.
Well, I have to
is-
do the disclaimer. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he disclaims himself.
Yeah.
It's Deb and I that get the run the flag up the pole,
There you go.
right?
All right.
And see,
Well, it's
see if
time-
it flies, right, John?
You
Run
got
that
it.
flag up the pole, see if it's right. All right, that dog does hunt, and I'm going to
See?
get off the phone. Okay.
All
Thanks,
right.
Charlie.
You
Thanks,
guys are
Charlie.
doing a great show.
Enjoy
Great
your
show.
weekend, buddy. All right.
Amen.
And we'll be right
You
back.
too.
So stick with us. All right. You're listening to Friday Fun Day with Jon Campion, Deborah Harsh, Pittsburg Deb, as she is affectionately known, and myself, your humble board operator.
Our humble board operator,
Yeah.
the biggest Detroit Tiger fan.
Well,
Right.
my mom, when she was alive, I think she would have that credential.
You know, when I hear you talk about I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
your mom and your aunt
Yeah.
reminds me of the time when we were with the boys.
Yeah.
My boys were smaller, of
Yeah.
course, and we were in Chicago and we were
Uh-huh.
taking the L to a Cubs game,
Uh-huh.
and we had these two sisters on there that were like sisters,
Yeah.
and they've been Cubs fans since they were 5, and they
Aw.
were just all dressed up in this stuff, and we were having the best time on the train with the kids. And
Oh, yeah. I got a picture at home. It's in my living room of my mom and my Aunt Marie posing with, guess who?
Al Kaline.
Ernie Harwell.
Oh wow,
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's right.
that's amazing.
Right. So
We would talk to his mom and his aunt on their birthdays every year.
every year, Deb and I. Yeah.
We'd call up and say happy birthday, and
Yeah. Yeah.
What much? What was their difference? What months were they?
Well, my Aunt Marie's an August baby. She was born August 2nd. Well, they were born at home. So, so it's like she was born really August 2nd, but I think her birth certificate said August 3rd because that's when the doctor got there to certify her.
Sure.
Yeah.
It cost probably, well, at home it didn't cost. But,
Home delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was like $1 at the hospital.
Yeah.
We have his birth certificate.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, my mom's a June baby, June 12th.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm. And so my mom was born in June on the 12th. They were married in July on the 12th. And wouldn't you know it, on their wedding license, whoever wrote their wedding license, the clerk, reversed the months. So
It's easy to do. Isn't
so
it?
my dad would say to my mom, every anniversary, this is not legal. So it just, so as you know.
Yeah, we haven't been married
No,
30 years.
not
sorry.
legal. Yeah.
And your name's really Irma.
So it's like, geez, Dad, poor mom. Anyway.
He done did her good.
Oh my God. Every
Oh
year.
gosh.
And then my mom went to have, when she was pregnant with me, they were married in 52. I was born in 53. Okay. My dad would joke. He would tell the customers, he says, we were married in July and Frank was born in August. And then quietly later, he said, yeah, the following year.
There you go.
Yeah. But anyways,
And people would
and my
believe 'em.
poor mom would roll her eyes and say, oh, geez.
Yeah, see, my wife does that. When I say something that she's heard a few times,
Yeah.
she's like, go find somebody else to talk to. Go find some new people.
Right? Oh God.
That's great.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just good stuff. Yeah. So I was born on the 5th, and my mom went into the hospital to have me. She was in active labor on the 2nd, but for reasons unbeknownst to me, because I was a passive
You were
observer.
just hanging out, waiting to come on.
It
And
took
hang out.
so every year on my birthday, my mom would say to me, for 3 days, I got this 3 days thing. It's like, Mom, what do you
So
want?
your
from me?"
birthday's August 5th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That should be easy to remember. My oldest son is 8/8/88,
Wow.
and that's
Wow. August 8th. Easy. Yeah.
The second one, he was born 9/8/91. That really messed me
Now
up.
for the Chinese, the number 8 is like hugely a good deal. You'll see a lot of businesses be like 888 or 8 something. They always put the number 8 in their businesses because it's good luck.
Not 6.
No, 6. No,
No.
but 8 is good.
Okay.
And I guess it's because the
circles.
circles, yeah, continue. Yeah,
Well,
exactly
he's a
right,
good
Deb.
kid,
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. He's like his
We should have
mother.
Tiffany come in and explain all the Chinese things to us.
It would be definitely afraid because English is her second language. She actually speaks very good
She
English.
speaks great English.
But she is so self-conscious. It's like my mom when we were in Sicily. My mom spoke Sicilian Italian, right? And my aunt, her next oldest sister, same thing. They were together. We were there in the early 2000s, and they were reluctant to speak Italian because the Italians in Sicily spoke the true, authentic Italian, not the
And your mom had slang.
the Sicilian Italian,
Yeah.
right? Which is, so they
Wow.
were embarrassed to speak Sicilian, really, which was,
But they shouldn't have been.
But they could understand everything.
absolutely. So there was a little old Sicilian lady we ran into one evening, and with a babushka on, the whole thing, and my mom approached her, and she said to her, do you speak Sicilian? The lady looked at her like, what are you, crazy? Of course I speak Sicilian, but so then they went yammering on in Italian / Sicilian.
And the rest was history.
Yes, but it was great.
Well, that's like the story you told us about the Mezzapel clan in northern Italy. Was that?
Well,
No.
so my grandfather always said that our family hails from northern Italy because he was tall, blue-eyed,
What happened to you?
Well,
Yeah.
I had my grandmother.
Tall, brown-eyed.
You have to see a picture of my grandmother to understand.
Oh, you look just like her.
Well,
She had a skirt on.
yeah.
She wear a babushka.
So my grandmother was just a little bit of a thing. So
was my dad's mom. My
Right.
dad's mom was like 4'8". My dad was 6'4".
right,
His brother was 6'5".
right, yeah.
Yeah, Yeah.
So I'll show you
Grandma-
a wedding picture of my folks because my grandparents were there, and it's like it was really
the
cool.
whole fam damly.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, right. So that my grandfather always said that, but although the most of his family's in Marsala, I guess back in the 1800s there's some sort of war, skirmish, so something always going on in Europe. So in order to avoid being conscripted into an army, they went to Sicily, which was like, I guess was like a no-fly zone or something. It was just like,
You're protected.
yeah. So they kind of went there, and then of course there was not much of a life in Sicily, so they came over to the U.S. because there was a better opportunity, which with a lot of other millions of other Europeans, right?
Right.
At the same
You
time.
bet.
Yeah.
You bet. I think
So-
they went and hung out at some island named after Ellis.
Yes, Ellis Island. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people went through Ellis Island.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw their names on the ship manifest, which was cool when I was doing some family research, which is so cool to see their names
Wow.
listed, and the ship that they came in on. And yeah, in Ellis Island, what they would do before you're actually seen by an immigration official, you had to walk up a flight of steps that was 2 stories long. And
Yes,
the
it
reason-
is. I've been to Ellis Island.
Right. You saw the steps, right? And do you know why they did that? Because
So they could stretch their legs.
no, because they wanted to see if they had TB,
Ah,
and it was cheaper than administering a TB test to everybody. If they couldn't make it up the steps, time to go.
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
That's-
Interesting,
it
yeah,
is,
right?
It is. Yep. Well,
There's a little slice of history for you.
Now they take people there before they go to jail to see if they're intoxicated or not. If they
Really?
can make it up the steps.
Is that how? Wow.
Are we done already?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
that was a quick hour.
It was.
Wow.
Yes.
Well,
So next week is the bunny week.
Oh yeah.
Palm Sunday, Sunday,
Yes.
and we've got Easter coming up. Hippity hoppity.
and we have to have hats off to KC for joining us. And
Thank you,
giving
KC.
us
Yes.
So much information.
She's always a delight.
She's a sweetheart.
well,
Yes. Yeah.
Lisa-
And if you want to hear more, tune into the KC Ingram
Yeah,
Show every
it's good.
Wednesday at 10. And then don't forget to tune into our show every Friday at 5. We're
For the
right
fun.
here for Friday Fun Day.
We try to make it fun.
You betcha.
And if
John
you're-
does.
All right.
I couldn't do it without them.
Aw.
These two funsters. Thanks,
All
y'all.
right. We'll see y'all next week.
Okay.
Ciao for now.
Thanks.